You don't even know the pain that this video has caused me. This is a 5-paged essay that I summarized for this video. And originally I was going to show some pictures and stuff. I'm so exhausted by this video. No. Anyways, so I got this. This is basically me summarizing up characters, what they do, and then I got a small timeline in the back that's kind of all that matters so far. And then I do have some list of some people that have yet to be mentioned or done much about. But anyways, let's get into this. So first of all, you have the player, which is an ex-Playtime employee. They returned after the Hour of Joy in 2005. The Hour of Joy, by the way, is led by the prototype. The toys kill all the employees. This takes place on October 8th, 1995. We have Molly Ludwig, which is basically just Ludwig's old wife, divorced back in 1930s. Rich Lovritz, chapter 1, he is angered by, he's an angry shipping employee from pressure. In chapter 2, he is heard. He is demoted to rejects. In chapter 3, he, against the idea of play care, he is told he could be a runner-up for management of shipping. In chapter 4, he gets the promotion from Stu, and he tries to protect these subordinates in shipping. Then we have Dowie, the Dough Man, who is Experiment 1322. He is made of 3 kids: Jack Ayers, from falling into a dough vat while on a tour in 1993. The tour guide was Brendan. After becoming Doughy, his parents are lured to be killed by him. No loose ends. Kevin Barnes B, the problem child, was added to the mass because of his test scores. We have Matthew Harlard C. He is the dream child and was age 15 and wasn't who Stella or Claire would have chosen due to his mentality and leadership skills. Moving on, we have Riley, age 12, who on August 8th of 94 was brought to play care 2 weeks after the death of her parents in a fire. February 10th of 95, she was chosen by Dr. White, turned into a project, survives Hour of Joy. However, to avoid someone entering the prison, she takes the key and dies, possibly eaten by other people, other projects. We got some theories also after this. We have Cole Vargan. He's a prison guard known as Guard 1. We hear him talk to Guard 2, Norm, during one of the tapes. He was a part of the theater incident in 1993 where more than 60 people died, including friends of his. Afterwards, he holds a hatred for the projects till after another employee, Stan Lee, is almost killed by Boxy. He snoops to learn the truth of the projects. He is captured in a cell with other guards, other cells than with the guards in those other cells during the Hour of Joy to possibly be kept alive to be food for later. Can't eat everyone all at once. Experiments 1015 and 1026 are failed, with 1026 only living a few minutes or only showing small reactions and then dying. Boxy Boo 1160 is the first successful Bigger Bodies, starting the Bigger Bodies initiative, and is waste management for the company. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to get a few things done while I'm doing this. We have Odd Ed, which is a mini crafty corn from chapter 4, hinting at a scrapped side quest concept. So it's just a kid turned into crafty corn. So there's a lot of minor characters here. We have Quinn Nevadinson, which is Yarnaby. This is Project 1166. Quinn originally hid his potential from test before Dr. Sawyer got involved, persuading them to retry the test. As Yarnaby, they're loyal to a handful, with Sawyer stealing all the attention to train them, which works because Yarnaby acts like a sad dog after Dr. Sawyer's removal. Warren Back Construction, a small family-owned company made in the 1930, which asked to make several projects, including but not limited to the prison, labs, play care, and the game station. Moving on to Stella Graybird, at first was one of the at first was a passionate applicator and interviewee, but became the head of play care following an incident where Mr. and Mrs. Hartman come to adopt a kid named Jeremy, but going to be tested without answers. Her hands are tied until she is told what play care's true purpose is. At first, she is against it, and till she starts seeing the positives, and now she works with the heads by testing and handpicking subjects for experiments. Poppy Playtime. She was the first talking doll and was kicked off Playtime Co. It's very possible that she was Elliot Ludwig's adopted kid who died in the 1960s. There's a tape at the end of chapter 4 that took me forever to get a hold of. But basically, it was just her confirming, I miss where my dad was the person who took over, was the one who had all of this stuff. She, alongside Dowie, is the leaders for the toys who don't follow the prototype. Moving on to Huggy Wuggy, Experiment 1170, is the most iconic and bestseller of Playtime Co. since him being made in 1984. He is the best obedient project up to date. On June 18th, 1992, he escaped to neighborhoods, killing multiple employees in the process. We have his counterpart, Kissy Wissy, Experiment 1172, made November of 90, to help quicken toy... Oh, no. Of November 90. In 94, she felt stressed and couldn't do tasks during Chapter 3. You can find her in Play Care's Home Sweet Home, looking at a pic of herself or a friend of hers. Make a Friend Machine was made in the 1960s to help quicken toy creation, and it follows the player, so probably is alive. Bobby Bear Hug is the passion of the smiling critters. May have connection with the player because one of the phrasings is "take me with you." Don't basically, hey, this time make sure you bring me with you. Bubba Fint is the smart of the critters, and he remembers you. So between him and Bobby, there's probably a huge connection there. Crafty Corn is the creative one, but because of their cutout, it seems like they have killed someone for paint. Picky Piggy teaches to be mindful of a diet while possibly eating her friends Bubba, Crafty, and Kickin'. Seared elephant. Yum. Kickin' Chicken, while the cool kid most likely died leaving safety. And then we have probably my favorite character of the Smiling Critters, Hoppy Hopscotch. Energy, man! Energy! And on February 1st of 2001, she and another toy were jumped by ferals while getting supplies for play care and is helped by Doey. By December 15th of 2004, another reports the prison has become highly aggressive and that Hoppy has recently been lost or killed, most likely by catnap at this point. That is one thing I'll say right now is no matter what is a Hoppy toy, we did not get confirmation if this was the Bigger Bodies initiative, but based on the context, it really sounds like this is Hoppy. And this is one of the last few Smiling Critters living, or this is during the time that the Smiling Critters were still a working crew. Moving on, we have the Warden, was a highly clearanced employee in charge of the prison, giving Sawyer the Omni Hand during the Hour of Joy to attempt to escape. We don't get much about him. We have Rowan Stoll, July 15th of 91. After seeing Huggy move, he does a deep dive. After learning the truth, he leaves his mother a message before leaving to try and go against Playtime, but meets Boxy. We have Leith Pierre, head of innovation, one of the more aggressive leaders. You can hear him over the security tapes. As of 1990, he calls himself the head of Playtime. And it is theorized based on Project Playtime that he was one of the few to escape the Hour of Joy, which is weird because you think he would be a high target, but based on how it feels like this was either during a evacuation or it could be possibly after the Hour of Joy. Eddie Ritterman, head of research, takes care of the other side of Playtime's businesses fairs. He hires Dr. White for the second lab after converting Sawyer. Moving on, we have Mari Payne, which is Mommy Longlegs, which is Experiment 1222. Mari was in play care and was negatively affected by Capnap's red smoke. There was 2 versions of Mommy before the one we settle on, due to some blueprints we got. Claire Harper had a close relationship with Mari, and she made a whole report. I want my girl back. What is this red smoke doing to her? We did hear Claire during the Doey's third kid, Matthew. Hey, this kid is nice. I'd like to hire him if we will recruit him if he ages out. So she's one of the more proper people. And then let's see here. Mommy's the one who oversaw the game station, was aggressive towards staff, but not so much towards kids and projects. Was seen by Marcus, which is Sean Jacksepticeye. The thing that you see under that door. It wasn't a person, man. We have Jimmy Ralph, which is the chief marketing officer, probably called Mommy. He named Mommy because he liked the blue E, Mommy. But he probably rejected the Paul toys because of his naming scheme. Going on to Dr. Matthew Wason, which is literally, he's the one who requested the fake windows in play care. That is all he is really worth. Game Station, while testing for future projects, musical memory was used for composure, memory, and pattern recognition. Wacka-Wuggy was for hand-eye coordination and reaction time. Statues was agility, strength, and speed. Moving back to some of the characters, we have Patty Hall, which caused miscolors by sabotaging a machine. She was dealt with, from what it sounds like, or at least demoted. The prototype, the original, which was Experiment 1006. So there was 1005 failed experiments before him. And then Made of Metal and Bone, because we see a bone during one of the tapes he is like the head of. This crab-like, he's got like crab-like legs, and then through the one of the thing that made him be known for is a horrible face. Like he like his face is so horrifying to the other people. He's been collecting others such as Mommy and Catnap to add to himself. So it looks like he started small, but he like slowly built up. He is smart enough to make an alarm clock into a laser. We have Miss Brooks, which is caretaker, who gave Samuel Lee to Miss Dr. White. Samuel Lee, we have yet to figure out what experiment that kid went into. Here's one of the experiments we did know about was Experiment 814, which was a poppy flower mixture used on rats to revive, but it failed. Michaela Hessep was an orphan in play care, was doing game station test while the Hour of Joy started. Sarah Abel and Matt Lata, I can't say that properly, but they were basically testing Michaela, but as they were making notes, PJ was able to sneak up on them and started the Hour of Joy in that section. Then we have, let's see here, Theodore Graham Bell, Catnap, which is Experiment 1188. Catnap was made November 1990 and was introduced January of 91. Theo had a relationship with the prototype, trying to help him escape using a grab pack with a green hand, but was electrocuted, and because of this injured his lungs. Not long after he turned into Catnap, he can breathe red smoke to hallucinate horrors. And he basically praises the prototype as his god. Dr. Bruno White was reported by Lockhart to have published papers and is the replacement for Sawyer for further projects. And in the second lab, he is the head. Evelyn or Carmen McCabe. One of these two doctors was reported by Lockhart. Well, both of them were reported by Lockhart, but one of them at least were hired by Playtime as a researcher who had a few things documented so far. We have Mark Smith, who is a tech that reported the grab pack missing during Theo's incident. We have Joel Sinclair, who is the head counselor, who reported Theo's behavior to Stella. We have Gerald Lockhart, reports knowledge to the heads of the company, including researches for projects. So he was basically the guy who went and got the dirt on everyone to make sure that the heads were able to do whatever they wanted. Dr. Harley Sawyer, Experiment 1354, was in Ludwig's youth program, a young genius program, before being kicked for not having humility and having an ego. Contacted by Leif Pierre in June 19th of 1990 to become the head researcher. When Lockhart discovered him, he had an ABNS certification and he had years of practical experience, and was reported by Lockhart, like I said, sometime during 1993 or a little bit after. They had decided to convert him into a machine as a human computer. After the Hour of Joy, he and the prototype joined forces to research the secret behind him, the prototype, and Poppy. The last character we have here is Thomas Clark, which is a Brawn toy. He was Experiment 1199. He was age 56, worked with Playtime since 1955. He was a pediatrician for Playcare. He was diagnosed with lung cancer before choosing to become a project himself in 1991. And once they put him with the other projects, he was immediately attacked because they noticed he was a employee rather than an orphan. Um, and Thomas was also there when Jewel was trying to understand things, and they both came across Theo after his incident. Here's a quick streamline of timeline stuff. In 1930s, Ludwig divorced. The founding of Playtime happened, and the founding of the Warrenbeck Construction Company. In the 1960s, we had the Make a Friend machine be created, and we had Ludwig. He lost a child at this time, which is probably how Poppy and this whole thing started. So it looks like this adventure started because of the 1960s. Another thing I didn't mention on this piece of paper was during chapter 3, it could have been just like hallucinations, but it was hinted at that Ludwig was, well, after his death, they found a body of a young man without no bone, with key bones and organs missing. So either this could be the child that he lost, or this could be someone he just used to try to, make someone. 1990s hiring 1990 was the hiring of Dr. Sawyer, and the big bodies started. So, like, within months of Dr. Sawyer starting, he started the Big Bodies Initiative. In 1991, we had Catnap and the Prototype start them, plotting. In 1992, we had Huggy escape to those neighborhoods. In 1993, we had the theater incident, Doe being made, and we had Sawyer becoming Experiment 1354, which was the start of Dr. Sawyer, but he started doing most of his projects come 1994, in which Riley from Chapter 4 happened. Then we have the big date of August 8th of 85 is the Hour of Joy. In 2004, we have Hoppy dying, and in 2001, we had the little, Hoppy and the other toy getting jumped. And then, as of 2004, Hoppy is dead, and the prison starts becoming extremely aggressive. So probably by then, Catnap and the few others that were still, mentally there finally chose a side. And this is probably the power struggle between Poppy and Prototype. And then 2005 is when we start this stuff. Before we go into some names, here are some theories that I had. So the player, based on Chapter 3's hallucinations, there's a high chance we may have something to do with Huggy or the person that is Huggy. Let's see here. Oh, Rich. Rich is the guy that was in shipping and is currently the manager in Chapter 4. It is very possible that this person is the player, because we learned through the Chapter 3 tape that he has a wife and that he cares very much about what her opinion is. And either, wife said stay home or retire after, being mistreated. And then, what is it? Reason why the player came is to try to help Rich, because he's one of the few people that seems to care about his coworkers. Let's see here. Oh, Riley. A little Riley theory is that it is possible, based on the fur that's left on her, that she could be the missing link between Huggy Wuggy and Kissy Missy, like a prototype Kissy, as Experiment 1171. Or a lot of people are suggesting that there was a scrapped concept of PJ Pugapillar, and this was Cassie Cutie Pillar, is what they think she may be. Let's see here. Stan Lee experiments, Boxy Boo. Trying to find any more. I have them starred. Along with Bobby, we have Bubba and Bobby, which we think could possibly have something to do with us yet again. Very possible. Because it seems like we are at least recognizable. By a few characters. I mean, I don't think we get recognized by Dr. Sawyer, but no one wants to get recognized by that grouch. Um, and then I guess you can say that the hobby theory exists. Let's see here. Oh, the warden. We very very quickly learn about him, and then he doesn't exist after it. It's very possible that we are the warden because after giving the Omni Hand, Dr. Sawyer promises to let us get through. I mean, it's kind of bad because the warden you think would be someone of a high priority for them to stop and kill. But between Rich and Warden, it sounds like it's one of the two. Stoll died. Leaf, very possible Leaf is still out there. That's something that a lot of people theorize is that maybe he's one of the few people who lived, or maybe he's a project they're using. One character I'll say that we don't know about at the moment is who is Samuel Lee, the one that Miss Brooks gives to Dr. White during a tape. And then the other characters we learned of a list that were possibly candidates to be catnapped. We also learned of some other projects of Project 1186 and 87. This is possibly a version 1 and 2 of Catnap or other smiling critters. But we do learn of some candidates, which we have yet to hear from or see. Christopher Rosenberg, Adam Snyder, Jessica Kent, Hannah Sharp, Rachel Thompson, Lenny Christian, Michael McDavid, Rachel Casaland, Rebecca Hallrich, Emily Ahrens, and Patrick Ballark. And then here are some people that were on the list that Lockhart mentioned, but we have yet to actually see any of these people. Sanji Sukan Oak, I think. Anthony Carizales. If we have one Dr. McCabe, we haven't heard from the other one. The sibling, possibly. We have Benjamin Ruthford, who is a mid-school dropout, problem child, and parent issues. We have Camille Rashkat. And then we have Charlie Moth, who is an anthology. I thought it was an anthologist for a second. But that's it. We went through all of the things that we know so far. We have a timeline. We have some theories. We have a bunch of things that we haven't heard from. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.